In this video, I'll be showing you how to replace ignition coils on a Nissan Maxima. They are located under the hood and on the engine. Let's get started. We're going to start off by opening our hood and making our way to our engine cover and locating two 10mm bolts holding it down. Go ahead and remove those. Set these aside. Now the bottom end of the engine cover, pull up. And set it aside as well. Now let's move on to our airbox and accordion tube. I'm going to disengage this clamp that goes on the hose to the accordion tube. Pull it out and set it aside. Now in the accordion tube, we are going to find two clamps. These are 8mm, so disengage those as well. Now undo your clips on the airbox. Lift up. Now we could fully remove our accordion tube. And set it aside. Now let's remove our throttle body from our intake manifold. I'm going to locate this wire harness clip on the throttle body and disengage it using some needle-nose pliers first. Move it out of the way for now. Now we're going to remove my throttle body using a 3/16 Allen bit. Set these aside. Set the bolt and bracket aside. Now pull the throttle body forward and set it aside. Now under the opening on the intake manifold here, we're going to locate this bracket and a 10mm bolt. We're going to go ahead and remove that as well. Now we're going to follow our bracket up and locate this hose held on by this clamp. I'm going to remove it using some needle-nose pliers. Now work it free. Set it aside. Now we're going to use a pick to help us remove the hose. Now we're going to move on to the front portion of the intake manifold and locate this clamp that connects towards the throttle body. I'm going to remove it using some pliers. If it's stuck, you can use a flat blade screwdriver and slightly pry along the edges. And set the hose aside. Now we're going to take a 10mm on a impact wrench and remove these 10mm bolts, holding our solenoids down to our intake manifold. and set these aside. Now I'm going to twist and remove these smaller vacuum lines from our intake manifold. We're going to follow these small vacuum lines and locate another 10mm bolt and a bracket. We're going to locate our hard vacuum line bracket, which is held down by two 10mm bolts, one here and one right here. We're going to remove that from the front portion of the intake manifold. Now for our last small vacuum hose along the other side of the intake manifold. Release it from its clip, just pull up and set it aside. Now we're going to move along to the back side of the intake manifold to remove two more clamps and two more hoses. I'm going to do this top one here first. Grab some long needle nose pliers to undo the clamp and push it back. I'll remove the hose. And set it aside. Now we're going to locate one more clamp right here and do the same. Now with those hoses out of the way, I'm going to locate this bracket right here that holds the intake manifold to the vehicle. It is held down by a 12mm bolt. We're going to go ahead and remove that next. Now we're going to move on to the front portion of the intake manifold and locate our 7 10mm fasteners. We're going to remove those to separate the manifold from the engine. Now we're going to lift up the intake manifold slowly, ensuring no debris falls into the intake manifold ports. So work it free. Remove this hose from this clip. Bring it forward and set it aside. Now I'm going to cover my intake ports using some clean rags to ensure no tools or fasteners fall in while we complete our repair. Now let's remove our ignition coil. Gonna locate our pigtail connector right here, push down on this tab on top and slide it out. Inspect for any corrosion or damage and set it aside. Now on the coil, we're gonna locate a 10mm bolt. We're gonna remove that as well. Now twist and pull the ignition coil up and out of the engine. And now for our ignition coil. First, I'm going to apply some dielectric grease to the end to ensure proper lubrication. And along the inside. Now let's install it on the vehicle. Slide it in place, push down, make sure it's fully flush, and hand thread on your 10mm bolt. Now we're going to torque this down to 62 inch-pounds. Now reinstall your electrical connector. Push all the way down until it seats. And make sure it's secure. I'll repeat this for the other rear ones. Now I'm going to remove my rags from my intake ports. Now we can install our intake manifold. Quick note, now is a good time to inspect your intake manifold gasket. I'm going to put it into place, align the studs on the engine and the manifold, and push down. Now on each end of the intake manifold, I'm going to locate 2 studs. I'm going to hand thread onto my nuts. Now with those in place, I'm going to snug down my intake manifold fasteners to the sequence you see on screen. Now we're going to torque these down to 96 inch-pounds in that same sequence. Now on the far right side of the manifold, I'm going to locate this bracket and reinstall its 10mm bolts. Line it up, hand thread it on. And torque this down to 62 inch-pounds. Now I'm going to take my evap hose and place it back in the holder. Now I'm going to put my vacuum hose and vacuum hose brackets back into place. For the bracket, I'm going to hand thread on my 2 10mm bolts. Now we're going to torque these down to 62 inch-pounds. Now we're also going to do the same for our 3 solenoid brackets. Now we're going to torque all 3 of these down to 62 inch-pounds. Now we're going to go on top of the manifold, follow this hard vacuum line, and reinstall its 10mm bracket bolt. Torque this down to 62 inch-pounds. Now let's resecure all our small vacuum lines. I'm going to start off with this one right here. Just plug it into the intake manifold. Now for the one all the way on the left. Now we're going to locate this solenoid and do the same. Use some pliers to reinstall your clamp. Now we're going to move along to the back side of the intake manifold and install our bracket bolt. Line it up, insert it, and hand thread it on. Now just snug it down. Remove your socket and make sure it's secure. Now we're going to move up and locate our two intake hose ports and reinstall them. Just slide them into place and reinstall your spring clamp. Now for our second intake hose. Do the same, put it into place and reinstall your clamp. Now let's reinstall our throttle body. Now would be a good time to inspect or replace your throttle body gasket, and also check if the throttle body needs some cleaning. We're going to line it up on our intake manifold and hand thread on our 4 bolts. For the bottom right bolt, the bracket is going to sit in this orientation during reinstallation. Now I'm going to torque these down to 74 inch-pounds using my 5mm Allen bit. We'll be going in a crisscross pattern. Now reinstall your harness clip on the bracket. Now for our accordion tube. I'm going to slide it into place. Install it on the throttle body. Now we're going to snug down our 8mm worm clamp. Make sure the accordion tube is secure. Now we're going to restore our last vacuum hose on the accordion tube. Just slide it over, push in, and reinstall your spring clamp. Now let's reinstall our air box. Slide it over the accordion tube. Unline the tabs, push down, and reinstall your clamps. Make sure the tube is fully around the air box, and snug down your 8mm worm clamp. Now one last check to make sure everything is secure and snug. Now let's go ahead and reinstall our engine cover. We have 2 rubber grommets that are going to go on these studs, so align the cover and push down. Now hand thread on your 2 10mm bolts. And now snug these down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.